Welcome to the first episode of Dungeons and Tangents. I'm the host here, Andy Hines, and actually I'm joined today by a buddy of mine, Dan Calvin. Some of you might know from a few comic series. He and I actually ended up writing something that kind of barely got off the ground with exactly 100 copies. Not 100 issues, 100 copies. Very, very important distinction there. But here we go. Dan, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Daniel. I am a comic writer, as Andy said. I write American Dreams, Night Raft, Broken Knight, Sherlock Holmes Fan Masquerade, bit of anthologies, got other stuff coming on. And also a big DC fan.
Yeah, we both are. That's kind of what bonded us. In fact, I think it was specifically a love for Nightwing that we kind of became friends. Because everybody up until then, and even still today sometimes, all I hear is Batman. I was like, but no, like he was also Batman for a time. In particular, the Batman Robin series of like the 2010s with Damian. Yeah, exactly. Like with Damian and as his Robin was very interesting. And it was a really cool, like big brother, little brother sort of situation that they had going on more than a father-son or like mentorship. It was really the first time, I think, that you found Damian to be more interesting than just like, how can I almost kill somebody and get away with it? Like it was Damian being tempered a bit.
I actually liked Damian when I first read him because I thought the protagonist worked.
Yeah.
And also,
go ahead. Sorry.
But like Damian's also Batman, but a little more even keeled and with actual social graces.
I've always described him as happy Batman.
Yes, though let's not forget.
Yes, I'm aware that he has a temper. However, by and large, he has a much more again, like a happy persona. And he's not just brooding all the time for the sake of brooding.
Yeah. I mean, the guy can brood, but still.
He can, but like it takes him a while to get there. Now that's not to say I don't love Jason. He has his place. Unfortunately, I cannot always say the same for Tim, especially after New 52, where he was kind of written as a Gary Stu. I know we're on the same page there. I love them all. They have their own place, but I think people forget that Tim is more of the detective of the four of them. And Jason and Dick actually get along the best, I would say, of them all.
There's that great scene, I think it was during the Task Force Z arc, where Dick and Jason are just ribbing each other mercilessly.
As brothers should.
Yes, it's a bit where it was like, oh, maybe you should design your costume to be a giant crowbar. That's what you're afraid of.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I think there's a lot of comics that actually do that well. But even before Jason came back, I think while the Under the Red Hood was great, and I love that he's back, I think that Nightwing's solo run prior to New 52, the early part was really good. I think Chuck Dixon was great. I will say though, it was kind of hampered by some things. But we won't talk about that. It's fine. So that'll cause more issues in the comments than anything else, I'm sure.
Well, some of those were caused by other writers.
I'm aware of the writer that we're talking about.
So,
Um,
going back to that early bond between Dick and Jason, there's the great Nightwing Year One arc,
true.
where there's a great,
Well, this is also like Jason pre-death, so
right?
that I'm thinking more of like the modern Jason that we know as Red Hood.
Yeah, and it took them a while to get to that level again, because remember when Jason came back, he and Dick were pretty antagonistic to each other.
Yeah.
Especially after Bruce was quote unquote killed.
Yes. Well, under the I think it was Battle for the Cowl is what you're referring to.
Battle for the Cowl, and then the Batman Robin arcs.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
That was not the best writing. But in particular, Battle for the Cowl kind of pitted everybody against each other, including Tim, which is weird to see him as a any kind of antagonist.
Well, if anything, he was trying to keep Jason from getting the cowl.
No, I get that.
Else.
But it's still weird to see him with an edge.
Well, he kind of got quote unquote edgy after the events of Infinite Crisis and Identity Crisis, because his dad died.
Given
War Games, Stephanie Brown.
Identity Crisis was a lot.
And then
for many other reasons,
his friend died. So
true. Like I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm not saying it's not warranted. Anyhow.
Again, another great scene again, brotherly, is during the resurrection of Ra's al Ghul storyline, where he almost breaks down and almost takes the Lazarus water to attempt to resurrect all the people he lost, and it's ends up having a small breakdown with Dick comforting him.
True. I'm actually very interested in seeing where. Speaking of Batman, I'm interested in seeing actually where the Batman Part 2 goes. But
we know at least one villain's gonna be Harvey Dent.
True. I'm actually very excited to see Sebastian Stan in the Harvey Dent role, because I mean he's a great actor even without the flashiness of Bucky. But there's also more nuance in there than I think a lot of people would have given him, especially in those early minutes of Captain America, when they're still civilians. He's just joined and kind of comforting Steve from the 4F that he's just gotten. So that goes interestingly. But I do think the MCU, which I know you're not really caught up on, and I'm not entirely either. Like there's things like WandaVision and Ironheart that I can't really get through them. Like Ironheart is just her bashing of Tony, it doesn't feel necessary. And then similarly, it's just rough to get through all the different like sitcom variations in WandaVision. But outside of those, and I think the only other thing I need to watch in that is probably Marvels and Echo. I would love to watch Echo. The comic run was great. And it's just interesting to see them write people with disabilities, like adding in was it Matt Fraction run, and who was the artist on that, or no, who was the writer?
It's Robin Year One playing like
no, I'm talking about Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, it's still the same artist on Robin Year One, I think.
But
when I was trying myself, I can tell you.
Yeah. Okay. So I was looking for.
Polito? Is that right?
For the Hawkeye?
Yeah, Javier Polito.
Okay, no, I don't think it was him. It was Matt Fraction, and it was another Matt. Because it's the one where he's kind of running solo, like without the costume.
Yeah, I know what you mean. David Aha.
Oh, Damien, yeah, that's great. So David Asia, yeah.
Yeah.
That one is great because it kind of is the first one in a while to show what he's like, given that he's half deaf.
Yeah.
And there's one issue, and I think it's actually the one crossover with him and Deadpool, where it's Halloween. He's wearing a mask. This kid's wearing a Hulk mask and tries to talk to him, and because he can't read the character's lips, we don't know what the little kid is saying, which he called out. He's like, dude, if you don't take the mask off, I don't know what you're saying. I can't hear you. And I think that's a nice little kind of thing to put in because it shows that all these characters are human too, and things happen. They injure body parts that you don't expect. Like, because I think a lot of that is less degenerative and more just being around so many big battles and being only kind of enhanced human rather than superhuman. Like,
yeah,
he gets smacked around and his inner ear gets messed up. I don't know if that's canonically how it happened, but that's how I've always read into it. But again, I think that, you're trying to have Daredevil masquerade as somebody with sight and not being able to see a photo in front of him, even though he can see all the textures on the people's clothing. That's an interesting perspective, I think. But then you've also got, Moon Knight with DID, which I think they actually did relatively well in the show. And I would actually like to see more of him, depending on how Oscar Isaac feels about portraying him again, or whether Marvel wants to work with him or not. I don't know where all that stands. But it also, he could easily be just somebody that was, he got to run. He's not really in everything because Moon Knight in general is not really used as often as he maybe should be. But he's also got such a strange shtick that, like, I don't know how people would actually interact with him. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Be interesting if he was maybe in Secret Wars. That might be a good place to bring him back in, or even to recast him if they don't want to go the Oscar Isaac route again. They could bring him in with like the new generation of X-Men and all that sort of thing, which I actually do really like the way that they've set everything up for them to be a younger class of X-Men without it being first class all over again.
Yeah, because why not? Why repeat what's already been on the screen?
Well, that too. Plus, why the hell would you do that to Darwin all over again?
Oh God, yeah. Well,
yeah,
he got better. He's in DC now. He's
well,
terrific.
the actor got better. I don't know if the character did.
Well, yeah, I know.
Kind of hard to come back from being dusted without it being a Thanos thing.
That's supposed to happen to him,
right? But yeah, for those not familiar with Darwin as a character, he is interesting. His whole thing is that he like cannot die. His mutation is adaptation. Like, there's a infamous comic where it's him and the other X-Men up against the Hulk. I think this is Savage Hulk at the time, where like the Hulk is about to hit him, and instead of him like turning to diamond or like steel or something like that, the only way his mutation can keep him alive is to give him teleportation. So he's like across the fucking country, Because I guess, the best way to fight the Hulk is not to.
Yeah.
So,
by the way,
yeah.
But have you ever read the Joker's Laugh crossover?
Not yet. I have not yet.
A character that's kind of similar to Darwin, where there's a running gag because they're trying to figure out how to get this mega prison that Joker somehow put in damage on his way out. And unfortunately, in order to do it, they have to keep unaliving him over and over and over. Because he's like a Virgin Resurrection man or something like that. And it's kind of a bit of a dark running joke in this very high stakes side story.
Mm-hmm.
I digress.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's one of the many tangents we'll have here.
Yeah. So I talk lanterns?
Yeah. Let me just a second here. So, what was your thought on lanterns, to be honest?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I know it's more grounded, so to speak, start for a Green Lantern show, but the subsequent, though, this season on Lantern shows, we are going to have the space opera elements come in. Just not like in these big flashy ways we think is going to happen. So
yeah. I still stand with the fact that I think what may happen is that we might end up getting William Hand is who I think Garrett Dillahunt is, or he may be working for him or the Manhunters.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of the Manhunters being in there.
Yeah. Hand, for those who may not be as versed in DC, is Black Hand, who's one of the major antagonists in the Blackest Night.
He's also very specifically a villain for Hal Jordan.
Right.
So we might have that to worry about.
And then I'm thinking in that last sequence, the 2026 sequence, with the snow and everything, I'm wondering if it's Final Night-esque.
It could be.
Another Hal Jordan-focused event.
But we also don't know like what time of the year it is, so it may just be a season where it's snowing, where we got them there in the summer, in 2016. So that is... Yeah. But it is interesting to see that, like, whatever happened there decimated the ranch.
Yeah.
Which, obviously. But it's more interesting, I think, that 10 years later, we don't have it built back up.
Which makes you wonder what the heck happens at those events.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll find out soon.
We will. It's a good series. I really like the way that they've been able to introduce both Hal and John, because you get to see like that Hal is someone John has looked up to for so long. And what I'm guessing is frustration on him that he is not who he expected him to be. It's one of those kind of don't meet your heroes sort of things. But it's also interesting the way that like they're, and I do mean this positively. I find it interesting the way that they're going about this as the learn the job, not the ring. Like, yeah. So I like the groundedness of it because it forces us to get to know the characters, not how the characters operate the ring. Though we do quickly see that in, how driving the, abandoning the car off the road. And for John's first reaction to be bubble wrap. Not like a bubble boy, like plastic bubble, but bubble wrap.
It's kind of ingenious.
It is. But it speaks to a very like practical nature for someone like him that has the Marine Corps background, like his dad, which I find interesting because I almost went into the Marines and my dad actually has a Marine background. So I had a connection with it there. But then the difference in that, it's partly a difference in the branches because Hal wasn't just a test pilot; he's a former Air Force veteran. You know what I mean? So like, there's different sensibilities in the different branches that you can kind of see over this. Although I do believe they are the only two lanterns from Earth, other than possibly Alan Scott, that actually have military backgrounds. Because if I remember right, Guy tried to be a cop and got thrown out of the academy.
I wonder why.
No, I agree, but like also it was expected of him because he's like fourth generation, or should have been fourth generation. Right. But yeah, and then you've got on the other end the kind of like, I don't want to say like hippie mentality, but like you've got that from Kyle, who is an artist, and therefore like, I know I've talked to you about this before, but like I find it interesting that he and John are both the two people that like put so much into their constructs.
Yeah.
Because like Hal puts up just enough for it to be physical.
Right.
John puts in every little nut and bolt and everything because he is an engineer and architect.
Right. You see some of that in the interrogation scene where he's sketching.
Yeah.
While Hal's in the interrogation.
Yes. And then also you have Kyle, who, like, as I said, he's an artist, but he puts so much more detail into things that you wouldn't, to make it feel alive. Right. And as with most things, Guy does the fucking bare minimum.
Yeah. And Kyle, as time's gone on and Morris is taking over Kyle, he's had some of the most elaborate and I think fun.
That's exactly my point. Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of people, like my buddy B. Ken Marius, been getting more like anime and manga influence.
Yes, for sure.
For example.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, is especially like starting in the late 90s, it took him like a few years for them to really like branch out with his style. Rather than just like the comic book style, because you expect it in comic books. He's sometimes got a more like Andy Warhol sensibility, or, you know, something along those lines. He goes into manga, to anime, like all these different sorts of things that you wouldn't initially expect. Like, and actually, in my opinion, when it's drawn, it shows a broader range for the artist than to just do whatever fits the style that they're currently working in. They have to branch out into like, can I also draw anime? Like, can I also draw like, you know, Robotech or Gundam? Like, you know, things like that. But yeah, that honestly, he is my favorite Lantern because he's the one I started with on paper.
Right.
And for those of you who don't know, this actually, Lanterns kind of leans into it a little bit, where this might be Final Crisis or Blackest Night, where or it could be leaning into Parallax. Maybe this is like a shell of who he was, and he's somewhere else now. But it does lean into Parallax, who is a villain he became. And then while there was no longer a Lantern Corps because he slaughtered them, Kyle was the only Lantern around. And in fact ended up being directly chosen by one of the last Guardian alive, Ganthet. And I do appreciate that it's very un-PC, but like at the time, the funny reaction when he's asked by his girlfriend, like, how did he become Green Lantern? He goes, I don't know, the ring was given to me by a blue midget in a red dress. So it's a funny thing in the moment, but you know, it's one of those out of context sort of things that makes it like really interesting, given if you know what the Guardians look like and how very out of fashion they all look. But also, we should keep in mind that like the Lanterns kind of, if we're reading this right from the trailers, they have the timeline backwards. Because initially, Guy Gardner is the runner-up to Hal. And then when he gets hurt on the job, they come in and they make John the next one. And John is an interesting one too, outside of all the other stuff. Like, he's the first Lantern in the canon iterations that does not wear a mask for very pointed reasons.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of it was, it was I think late 70s, early 80s, and they wanted to make a point that like just being a black man with a mask is going to paint a target on you.
Yeah.
And he wanted to be proud of being a Lantern and also being John Stewart. And then you have to realize in this Lanterns, very clearly his dad has been training him to be the next one. Whether he was gonna be chosen or not. Like, they had no way of, knowing that. But I honestly think it's a more interesting bonding experience for the two of them to go do the William Tell thing in the backyard. But I mean, it's also a good departure from the tropes and everything, to actually have a black father be around, and B, actually have a strong relationship to where this isn't a resentment thing. They're going to go get burgers in a minute. Like, he's not in trouble. He's honest. I had the TV on. His name is Hal Jordan. Well, his name is Hal something. And then they hug each other and go. There's no fear in his eyes. There's no resentment. There's no distrust. Now, is it healthy in general to shoot at your, 8-10-year-old son? Probably not.
No. I think the kid is going to address that, because even if he's, has a carry relationship with John, he's in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
The other boys are terrified of him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely something going on. And B, I think that's probably going to be addressed later on, in at least hopefully the season.
Yeah.
John always through back and says, "Doing playing William Tell with me with a freaking live ammo was not helpful." I think that's my point of view.
No, I
think it's
mean,
going to
you're
be
not
something
wrong.
back.
I don't think it's helpful, but you should also point out the fact that, like, all these years later, when he's been driven off a cliff, his dad's his first call.
True.
Or, well, we're led to assume it's his dad.
Yeah. Well, I think it is because it's the same voice, I think, on the other end.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's actually a really interesting take on the whole thing. But we also need to see his mom at some point, and like how she factors into things and what role model she was. But he's also very in control of his emotions, as you can see when, like, I mean, Hal's trying to get at, like, are you annoyed? Like, I'd be annoyed I'm late.
Yeah.
But this is also a very, like, strange, well, not strange depiction for Hal, but, like, it is a very strange thing for someone to generally, like, admit openly without, without prompting that they are in fact late. Most people would be like, oh, it was traffic, don't worry about it. He goes out of his way to be like, I messed up, you should feel some sort of way about this. Yeah. No, it just is what it is. It's, I can't be mad at you for something I can't control.
Right.
So I think it's a very interesting version of it. Yeah. But let's see.
There's also the reason to some of the stuff of the family that gets the Dunn family that controls the town.
Macon.
The 2016 strand of the timeline.
Macon family.
Macon family.
Yeah, you're thinking of Yellowstone. They're the Duttons.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So the Macon family definitely has some issues.
Yeah, again, like I definitely hold with the fact that, like, one of them could be Black Hand. Like, the first name fits. And it may have been an earlier family name.
Yeah. And it's also, we have all these people who are really training in some paranoid, I guess, fantasy.
Yeah.
Or it turned out not so paranoid.
But I find it interesting that, I mean, we don't have it directly in this episode, but it is in the trailers for the following episodes for the season, that clearly it's a manhunter.
Yes.
But I also like I like Hal's instinct that A, they're not dressed for the weather.
Yeah.
B, he doesn't react to, something as big culturally as Harry Potter, and his, yeah, and without going into further politics, like, he doesn't have much of a response to the idea of Barack Obama in rural fucking Nebraska.
Yeah.
And he very quickly clocks, like, you've been trained to understand these very specific things about a part of daily life so you can inhabit this form or like this guise for, however long it takes you to dispatch these people.
Yeah.
But I also like that earlier in that scene, like, they let John fuck up, but also let him be the one to fix it by catching him.
Right.
Yeah, I think that was kind of cool.
And this is obviously the lesser of John's two fuck ups.
Yeah.
In this storyline.
Well, to be fair, he wasn't given any information about the other one.
True.
So it's less of a fuck up and more of a faux pas that, like, oh shit, that's gonna come back and bite us.
Yes. And
yeah.
It did.
Yeah, well,
What
not nearly as much as it might later on.
Yeah.
I'm referring, of course, to the for those that have seen it, like the fact that he slept with Mrs. Macon and was not told that she was married. First of all, did not see a ring. I'm assuming, um, or didn't look for one, which is another issue. Um, but then, like, for Hal's reaction to be like, "We've only been here 24 hours. I'm impressed." that says a lot of things, and maybe a good reason why we haven't seen anything about Carol. Yeah.
Now the
Ooh,
final scene.
that's.
That.
I just had a thought there.
Okay, do that first, and we'll circle back.
Very quickly. That, like, Carol not being in the picture, she may have been the one that killed him, given how much of the early run had the Star Sapphires as villains, especially her.
Oh yeah. Well, we know at least one major ring slinging villain.
Yeah, I mean, we have Sinestro,
and I think he's getting the science cells for that sequence.
Yeah,
he's not wearing his Silver Age uniform. He's wearing a prison uniform.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to that final scene in the interrogation room,
mm-hmm.
They could have been, convenient, so to speak, and just got like with a Men in Black, full on alien reveal.
Yeah.
In that scene. But I think that they did instead was much more clever, and that's the entirely changing the body language and how he speaks when caught.
Mm-hmm.
It's that body language shift is really good, shift in acting.
Oh, for sure.
Because they could have just gone straight up, straight to like mask off like in Man Black.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if they had I don't know if they wanted to spend all the budget on masks. Otherwise, we'd be here for a while in this. But yeah.
Yeah. And having that be mainly body language, at least for this scene, save some money for later on when we probably see the Manhunters, among other stuff.
Yeah.
They also definitely had a bit of a physical effects budget at the end scene with Boom.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing. So I wonder how much of that was physical and how much of that was digital.
Yeah.
You need at least one physical component that you can at least magnify that digitally, but still.
I really think only the Green Dome was a digital thing, because I think the rest was probably physical and like practical effects.
Yeah.
Because you notice like they're shooting on like a very wide, like 2-lane road in a rural town, rather than like in a larger area, and like that's really the size of like the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
Like you take those things into context, there's a very good chance that like it was a practical effect.
Yeah. Practical effect that they probably had like little things set to go off, because I know I've seen.
Yeah. Because if it had been CGI, they probably would have had a couple cars coming down the road, and the street was bare in the middle of the day.
Yeah. Well, also I was thinking, because being in New York, I see some film production stuff. They often have cars set to go boom or have glass shatter and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And they also
they had a couple in like the parking lot, but not like
lampposts.
Yeah.
Also shattered a bit. So those were probably the low. I think the shockwave we see is probably going to be CGI, obviously, because they're not going to have an actual explosion that big.
Oh yeah, the shockwave itself for sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then in other DC news, they officially announced that the People versus Gorilla Grodd
series I saw
is
that.
going to be. And of course, people have strong opinions. I, for one, am interested because it's going to be completely Silver Age wackiness, and I love that.
Well, you have that, and then it's all about the world building, and DC
Yes.
has a very broad world, because it's not just New York with superheroes like Marvel does.
Right.
Um, but it's also like I, for one, because I went to school for journalism, which isn't a thing anymore, unfortunately. Um, I I think it's interesting to actually like flesh out specifically the the Daily Planet and all of its people there, not just make them uh, you know, background for a Superman movie. You can actually get more from them if you get this kind of like mockumentary style thing that they're doing with this, which is what I'm taking it as. Um,
Right.
but I mean, it said as 8 parts, which I'm assume means we're going to get 8 episodes.
Right.
And it's going to be very like, ooh, how would I, like the Jinx or the Night of, like in that kind of HBO mindset. Those are the best two I can come up with because otherwise we're just getting more um, like True Detective style, like we're already getting in Lanterns, and I don't think they're going to double down on that.
No, but the fact that they are also bringing the entirety of the Daily Planet staff, so we have the return of just not G. Olsen, but
Like Perry White, we've got
Jack Grant, Steve Lombard, Ron
exactly,
Troop.
like we've got everybody but Lois in there, which
Right.
means she's out on a bigger piece. Um, and they may refer to her, but I really don't think that they're going to be like using her in particular. Like they may have her for like principal photography and some things like that, or like some things around on a desk to say like, this is Lois's desk, this is Clark's desk. Like I think they'll have placeholder things there to kind of like make us miss them, but I don't think that they're gonna have like a full on like cameo, like in a true sense.
True,
Like
as you
I
say,
think they're gonna sit there like in
indifferent.
yeah, I think they're gonna sit there as like either like um here's her Pulitzer and a photo of her, like here's Superman saving the city, like on a poster, like put up on the wall because it was the biggest news story of that year. Like
Yeah.
the way that they usually have the planet shown in the comics, I think they're going to do a lot more of that.
Yeah. And I think that part is going to be more like The Office than the.
For sure. Like I think that like they're going to report on things, not just have them all on location in the jail, like except for maybe Jimmy and whoever's playing Grodd and somebody else. Like I think this is going to be Jimmy as a video journalist in that sense, because I mean it does show that he's the one making the documentary.
Right, and I think it's definitely going to be taking influence from Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
Which was by Matt Fraction again, and Steven Lieber.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a really funny, really weird series. I think they might take some of that tone from, for at least for Daily Planet sequences.
Yeah.
And it is a question of how they're going to balance the tones, but I think they're going to work. Apparently, according to guys, like one of the earliest things they pitched was this series. And I'm wondering also if they're going to do this somewhat concurrently with while some principal photography is going on for Man of Tomorrow. The cast is already there. They're in place in Cleveland or Cincinnati, wherever they're filming. I think it's Cincinnati, right?
I think so. I can't recall.
Yeah, so.
But that sounds right.
But that, yeah, I think because. So it'd probably make a lot of sense for them to have them do some of the filming right there while set, so they don't waste the sets. and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely agree with that. Like, that they need to keep things around for as long as possible and just kind of slightly adjust sets rather than entirely breaking them down.
Yeah.
Like, we could. Oh, actually, I can imagine like a chase sequence through that mall that they used to film like the last, like the kiss in Superman.
Yeah.
Given it's all catwalks and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
if you just
and
repaint
then,
it a little bit, you can get a lot out of that with maybe like something bringing in Batman or the Robins or something like that.
and the great thing about that location, it's a real place.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can, if you bought the place or rent it for a certain number of months, you can keep using it for a while because, again, it's a physical place. You don't have to do much to it other than occasionally repainting.
Still active mall.
Yeah.
So you probably have to do it after hours.
Yeah. But yeah, I find a lot of that, like the ability to do practical stuff, kind of interesting too.
And Gross probably is like in flat in the DC TV series universe.
Yeah.
It's still probably end up being CGI because you don't want a man in a suit. It's gonna look worse than like old school Planet of the Apes. It's not gonna be as
no. I think what they're gonna do probably is do like mocap and then CGI, and have it somebody like in more or less like an exosuit, and then kind of CGI map around it.
Yeah.
I mean, this may be a little inside baseball for people, but
Yeah.
It's
probably like how they did Kong for Kong Skull Island, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Or the way they did Crypto for Supergirl.
Yes.
Like, which actually I do love that movie. You were the second person fun. I saw it with.
Yeah.
But it was gorgeous, and honestly, Millie Alcock is a great Supergirl for like all of that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just unfortunate that people were judging her based on her looks, and not any of her actual talent, because these are people who also probably never saw House of the Dragon and the work she's done there. But again, like, she did really well for someone for whom this is their first movie, much less their first like solo run on a movie. Like, she's the head of it, having never been in celluloid before. I mean, not that they do celluloid anymore, but like, you get the point. Like,
yeah, and Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa ate that shit up. Like, he was fucking born for that. Like, no matter what they've... Hold on. Like, no matter... Yes, I disagree with the fact that they used CGI or AI on it.
Yeah.
But for his performance, he did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Now, does he have the same six-pack he did, 15 years ago? No. But that's not what he's about.
Right.
But I really do think that, like, he was an interesting choice, because he does look so much like him.
Yeah.
I know Panda Red had a whole thing about that. Like, just the going off on like the look of him, the mannerisms, like everything.
It was so great, like, because it's really the only other time that I know I've seen a good Lobo. Because remember, I'm not the biggest Lobo fan, but the only time I've seen Lobo do get real justice from when I was a kid, it was the guy from who Everybody Loves Raymond, Ray Garrett, voicing the character on Superman.
Yeah. True.
So they had to obviously tone that down for kids' television.
Well, yeah. But also in what was it? They did a good job with him in Young Justice when he was in there. And they did a good job with him in, I think it was also Man of Tomorrow, like the last Superman like animated movie.
Oh yeah, was he also on Krypton randomly at one
Yeah,
point?
but we don't talk about that. So
Oh,
I personally did not love that show. Like it started interestingly, it
I
did
saw the
not
pilot. That's
finish
very good.
the same way. So
Yeah.
I kind of feel about that the way I do about Gotham, which is that I try not to.
Whereas I do enjoy Gotham, but for various reasons, like
I can agree that
I
they made an interesting show with interesting plot lines. I do not think it deserves to be called Gotham because at that point you're expecting Batman, and all these things happened well before Bruce Wayne became Batman, which I find odd because for the most part, he's the reason that they are what they are.
yeah. Now they give some different motivations for some of the characters.
Yeah, like the Riddler, not bad. Like you could have him, Edward Enigma doing what he does pre-costume this far ahead.
Yeah. So
Same
it
with the
gives a
Penguin.
different.
That like if that had just been like a Penguin origin story, and then the guy eventually becomes like the rather wide gentleman that we see in the Penguin show, which I still haven't finished.
I said watch
Like
it.
I think that could have worked, but like to do this, 10 years ahead of when he becomes Batman, I don't think that really serves the character or the show.
True, but I enjoy it for what it was, which is just insanity.
I will say, I don't remember the actor's name, but the guy that played Alfred, I think he did a good job as Alfred, no matter how you slice it and
Sean
like what time you
Pertwee.
put
Sean
in.
Pertwee, who I had a play exchange with Gotham, like in the first couple seasons of Gotham, because I was an active watcher until I think midway through the third season, because that's when I got my current job, and then I fell off the wagon, so
Yeah,
to speak. But he was a great Alfred. He's also, by the way, the son of
I
John
know.
Pertwee, who nerds know as
Doctor Who,
Doctor
yeah.
Who. But yeah, but never mind. But he was a great Alfred. He also filmed it on the same location as they filmed the Wayne Manor for Batman Forever. Interesting enough, which is
I do recall that, yeah.
I think it's the Naval Academy out here on Long Island.
Nice.
That's why you see some of the nautical elements in the gate and in the building.
Yeah.
But it's also just because it's also a film that they filmed so much in New York. So a lot of fun for me was saying, oh, they filmed it here. Oh, they filmed it there. Oh, they filmed it there.
Yeah.
And just having that kind of like little fun of this little game of where did they film this?
Right.
Between me and my mom, because she got into the show while I was watching it. And that's one of them. But also, it's like, yes, it's campy. Yes, it doesn't follow the comics. Yes, it's just weird, but it's part of the charm.
Yeah.
B.B. Wong and a terrifying Hugo Strange.
Well, B.B. Wong's a great actor anyway, so.
B.B. Wong's great. The guy who played Penguin was very good, as well as the guy who played Riddler, who had some really great cameos from Carol Kane and Paul Rubens as Penguin's parents.
Yeah. Nice connection to Batman Forever. Or, sorry, Batman
Returns.
Returns, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Well, Riddler's having a bit of dissociative personality disorder. Works and doesn't.
Yeah.
Penguin stole the show.
Right.
Lethally, I may add.
Actually, while we're on the topic of movies and stuff like that, I am curious. Like, do you have a set of like favorite movies, or like with or without the like the comic element?
I do, but it's kind of, I don't have like a organized list in my head. I
don't have to like hear like this is number one, this is number two. Like, just like, do you have like a top 10 that you can think of like offhand that like probably fits there? Because like I know
I
they're
don't.
gonna fit like for most people. I think like they're kind of interchangeable.
That's the
Um,
problem. It's like very hard for me to pin them down because I love so many films.
well,
So at one
like
point I wanted to
you,
be a film director, so I was studying a lot of films and
yeah.
getting into like the nitty gritty. But I like
Um,
films. Oh, you go on first.
no, I was just gonna say like I think everybody dreams of doing that at some point or another. But like you don't have this. It doesn't have to be like a definitive list. Just like what are your top 10? Like you, if you want to take like one out of a trilogy and say that like it's a thing that holds up the trilogy, go ahead and do that. Like The Matrix, or in my opinion, um, the Return of the Jedi
Yeah.
is what
Well,
I
for me
think
it's
holds it
hard.
up
I just
more
the
than
reason.
like
Sorry.
Empire. So
Well, it's hard for me to really do it in my head. I don't like number one. I don't know what my definitive is. My number one definitive one that thing in the rain is probably the best screen musical of all time.
but we're gonna disagree on
Like,
musicals because
hmm?
yeah, I have a hard time
Yeah,
with
I know.
musicals. So
You might like it. You might like it. It's all it. But I like film like if like I like the 1990s animated Beauty and the Beast a lot. I like Sunset Boulevard. I consider that to be one of the best horror films of all time. You know, it's not one of the things that a horror film is a thriller, but it is in its ways a horror film because, well, it's a critique of Hollywood. It's also about a person so deluded that she sinks her claws into people and kind of drains them of their energy in a metaphorical sense. And ultimately, destroys people through her delusions. I like Casablanca. I love Wizard of Oz. I love The Mummy and Mask of Zorro. And when it comes to Star Wars, I love A New Hope because like the linchpin which everything freaking turns. Um, of the Indiana Jones franchise, I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. Um, Around the Road in 80 Days, the David Niven version, is one of my all-time favorite films. Yes, it's nearly 4 hours long, but it doesn't feel that way. It's a great way to waste an afternoon because you're seeing some of the greatest people ever to have performed in Hollywood just randomly show up in like 2-second cameos as you just go from place to place. Yeah, it's like films like I come across the gamut of so many things. It's really hard for me to nail down 2 through 10. But number one for me is Singing in the Rain, which I hadn't watched in a long time. You know, it's one of my favorite films, if not the favorite film of my life. And I watched it on our way to the trip we were on in San Diego.
mm-hmm.
It holds up really, really well. Like I am like trying not to laugh out loud while on a plane because people get nervous.
Yeah.
When people are like tackling,
Well, I mean, I worry
like,
about you doing that in person too. So
yeah.
uh,
Like it's a film that still holds. It's a 86. No, it's a 76-year-old film. Almost the only one person who was in that film is still with us, and that is hold on. She was Anita in West Side Story. Hold on.
right. Yeah, Dan, I'm like, if you can give me like 10 films that you think are great, is all I'm looking for. It doesn't have to be set in stone.
I think I just gave you a whole bunch of them.
I know, but like my point was like you didn't have to like set it 1 through 10.
Oh.
Like you're fine. But like I think you gave me like at least 6.
Yeah.
But like honestly, like there are films I go back to and we can discuss whether it's nostalgia, like rewatchability, or if I just can watch them a few times and still think it's a perfect film in whatever genre it is. Like they don't have to all be comedies. They don't have to all be, melodramas. Like they don't have to all be comic book movies. In fact, I think only like 2 of them are
Right.
comic book movies, if I can remember correctly. But like, it's a great adaptation. I'm gonna say like The Losers is a really good movie that I can rewatch over and over and not get tired of it, because they're such fun characters. And yes, it's pulled from a comic, a fairly obscure comic, but a comic nonetheless. I will say it might be my favorite Chris Evans thing, and that's including all the Captain America stuff.
Yep.
But it's also like kind of what I know Idris Elba from. Like, I didn't initially watch him in The Wire, while I think that's a great show. And yes, he does a fucking phenomenal job. It's not the thing I think of him first. I think of him as Roke from that. But again, it's also where I like really think of Zoe Saldana from. And she's also great, and I only watched the first season of it, but like she's great in Lioness, which I do recommend you watching. It's actually about a, I think, legit like DOD or CIA program where it's female operators going out into the world. Yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah, like those are great. I think like if we're talking comedies, like one of the better ones is one that many people don't know about these days, because everyone kind of immediately jumps to like Ghostbusters. But I think Real Genius is a great one. Like, I'm not going to watch it all the time, but when I put it on, I'm not going to turn it off for a while, like until, you know, the credits roll. But it's also one of those films that like kind of proved how much Val Kilmer could do. And a similar one kind of in the more, I'd say like action comedy, less comedy, but like more like action and drama type movie is The Saint. It is not a good movie, but it's a fun movie.
Yes.
He's also like playing a semi-serious role, and if we're going to talk like great movies with him that has a spectacular cast in general, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is up there. It's actually, I think it might have been right before Iron Man, because it was like 2007, 2008. And it might have actually been the thing that like got him his career back. Because if people don't remember, like he was nearly blacklisted, if not actually, for quite a while because of his antics in the 80s and 90s. But then immediately you're going to go to like Tropic Thunder, and that's a fantastic movie.
Oh, Tropic Thunder is great. I was really talking about it with a coworker the other day, and all of them saying like how many people just, especially these younger kids.
I honestly say it is this generation, well, the most recent generation's version of Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
And if you've never watched Blazing Saddles, anybody listening here, do yourself a favor, go watch it. It is some of the funniest bits. It's a little racist, but at the same, like, to be fair, like it was also written by Richard Pryor. Because
Mel Brooks went out of his way to get Richard Pryor.
It's like, if it'll make him laugh and not hate us, we're gonna be fine.
Like Mel Brooks really said on screen, for 3 Jews writing a screenplay with all the uses of the N-word, we need to get a black person's perspective, and we got Richard Pryor. So he wanted to be the star of the film, but insurance went no.
No shit, yeah. And unfortunately, it went to Clavon Little, who, like, he's great in it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, unfortunately, it went to him, and he didn't last much longer in the world. Because
Well, yeah, unfortunately, poor
yeah,
guy.
um, like he would have been amazing if he'd had a continued career. Um, but
With
unfortunately,
cancer.
that's not how that worked. And it's the same thing we get nowadays in comics with Chadwick Boseman, who you have to give props to the guy for like doing such fucking good work. Uh, while knowing he was dying of cancer and he was probably not going to get to watch the last 2 or 3 films he was in.
Well, I think he was diagnosed after the film was done. So
No,
yeah.
there was a couple of films that he did afterward that didn't get released, and he knew he wasn't going to be able to make a second one.
Oof.
So, yeah, he was diagnosed, I think, either during or after the making of Black Panther. But like,
Yeah.
I think it was 21 Bridges is the one that he that he made, and he wasn't sure he was going to actually be able to make the premiere to that one. And there's a couple others that are like that where he was like making them and wasn't around to actually see them finished.
Oh, actually, look up a little bit. He did die to 92, but he was more of a. He tried to do more TV and stage stuff than
Okay.
films.
That's unfortunate. He would have been really good in the other one, but I mean, if you find one more fulfilling and you can, make it home at the end of the day, then that's fine.
He did films, but he had a decent gig on the show Dear John.
Okay.
Where he got a guest actor Emmy.
Nice. Because that is the only film that I know him from.
Yeah, unfortunately, he didn't do many big. They did end up doing more TV more than anything else.
Yeah.
He died of colon cancer in 92.
Yeah. It's been a lot of people that have kind of gone that way. Cancer's a rough one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, I've only given you a few, and I don't know if I can make a full like 10 list, but yeah, I was watching something a few days ago, and I think I shared it with you. It was Matthew McConaughey answering a thing on Rolling Stone's YouTube channel of like his like 10 most influential songs in his life. And it got me thinking about like how much music like we actually like have in our lives, or like other pieces of media that like mean something to us that like other people wouldn't understand, because either like it's about an event you had, how you maybe interact with a friend or family member, or maybe something that like someone who has passed played a lot around you. But it's interesting how like all this media kind of like comes in and we like just grasp onto it with like a piece of our soul, and it's just how much it brings out of you in the moments when you hear it again. Like there's Grandma's Hands by Bill Withers. That and there's a Randy Travis song called He Walked on Water. Like they're from different sides of the family, but like I cannot listen to Grandma's Hands without thinking of my dad's mom, my paternal grandmother, and I cannot listen to He Walked on Water without thinking of my dad's dad, or my mom's dad. Like I never actually met my paternal grandfather. He died well before I was born. But like the way that those two kind of intersect in memory for me, like I can't listen to them without wanting to cry. and I find a lot of that in music. Like you connect things more emotionally than anything short of like smells. Because I
Right.
think we were talking to our friend Owen about that earlier today. As a matter of fact, like you, it's really hard to like connect to certain things without emotion, or like how much emotion is brought out of you in certain ways that you don't expect. Like there was something in, I don't remember exactly what scene it was. I want to say it was with Crypto lying there, like after he gets shot with the bolt. Um,
Yeah.
I I nearly cried then because I'm remembering like I had a dog that he was like 15. I want to say like late 14, early 15. Uh, he was a yellow lab named Bo, and my sister and I were both like late going to work one day, and he like our parents weren't home, and he was having a hard time like standing up. So we packed him into my car. My sister sat in the back with him, um, and I remember carrying him into the vet. And we called my mom on the way there. She met us. She got there a couple minutes after we did, but like we got him onto the table in the vet's office. And by the time she got there, he passed away. That's what watching Supergirl did to me. It brought that memory back that I probably hadn't thought of in like 15 years. Because this is probably like, yeah, 14 or 15 years. So it's like 2011, 2012 is when this happened. Um, yeah, that was a rough day. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was like, again, that's what like memories and, you know, all this media that we're always consuming does to people in moments they don't expect. Like,
Yeah.
I've got a cousin who just had a daughter a couple months ago, and like there's things he can't listen to anymore, like, and things he can't watch because his mind immediately now goes to her. Like some things will change how you're able to listen to them or watch them. Um, yeah, it's we could save that for a whole other whole other podcast, but yeah, those are like the media stuff is very interesting when you get down to like how it affects you or how how you want to consume it versus how you end up consuming it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like you may go in expecting like, you know, a thrill ride, but you come out questioning things or looking through a different lens at some things that like were just kind of day to day for you.
Yeah.
Like how you feel about family. Like I just recently, for the first time, watched Revenant, and like as with a couple of like those types of films, like you come out of it questioning how you judge people or like what things you've missed in like interactions with people. Like how would you really trust this person that you work with if you were in a certain situation? Like would they take advantage of that, or could you trust them all the way, full stop? So,
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm sounding like like what I imagine like John Bernthal starts to sound like in interviews. Like, no shade at all. Like, he's a very interesting person, but like those things always seem to go down a different rabbit hole. Like, and I know you're not quite caught up on MCU stuff, but like I do recommend when you get a chance, go see Spider-Man Brand New Day. Yeah. Because you see a different side even of his Punisher than you do in most of the other stuff.
Makes sense, because they have to make it for PG-13.
Well, that, but also just some of the things they get up to in this movie, like, you would not expect from the Punisher.
Interesting.
And similarly, like, actually kind of on the opposite way, like, you expected different performance, but you get the Punisher out of his Menelaus, like in the Odyssey.
Yeah.
That's not to say it's bad, but it's just a different take on Menelaus from like how he's usually written in things. Part of it is John Bernthal playing him and having played the Punisher for, you know, so long. But also, because I mean, he's right there with Spider-Man, who he just filmed Brand New Day with. Like that's a big part of it.
Did they also do like back-to-back press junkets? Because
they did.
It's them and Zendaya, and yes, like they really went from the Odyssey press junkets to Spider-Man press junkets.
Yes. The other part of that I find interesting is they actually recorded each other's auditions for the MCU.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they were doing a film together, and actually, John Bernthal was the one who recommended Tom Holland like flip into the camera, because like how many people are going to be able to do that without the wire work?
And Tom Holland has the dance training from being
correct.
On the set.
Yes. But yeah, like they filmed each other's things and sent it in together, and they got the yeses the same week.
Oh,
yeah. Nice. So like this is a full circle moment for them to be in like two big things together. The very last, like their first time working with Christopher Nolan for both of them. And also Tom Holland's very last standalone Spider-Man movie. And probably one of the last times we're going to see the Punisher in the MCU.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's confirmed, but it certainly felt that way from the performance that they gave.
Well, you never know, contract negotiations and all that. Well,
that is true, but you know, he's also getting a little bit older than Tom Holland is, and you never know how far he can push himself in those stunts. So I don't know how many of his own stunts he does, but like there's still something to be said for I'm starting to push 40 and there's certain things my knees won't do, such as bend when I ask them to.
Yeah. Don't worry, I know that feeling.
I'm sorry that you do, but I've also, like, you know, I love that we're fans of something like this where we can like jump into this whole thing, like, and talk about it, because it keeps the kid in us alive, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, yeah, actually, oh, dude, we've gone on so many fucking tangents. It's ridiculous. It's getting a little late for you back there in New York. I'm in California, so there's a 3-hour difference. It's pushing 11, which is a little late for you. So I will. Yes, I will. I will catch up with you another time. I think I'm going to be doing this with Carrie and maybe Chef next week. But hopefully I can have you back on another time through this, and you can kind of be in that, you know, rotating cast of folks that we talk to, hopefully switching it up with somebody else that we can discuss these things with. So it's not just a one-to-one discussion.
Sure.
All right. Well, I will catch up with you later. You have a good night, and we will see you when we see you.
I know.
All right. Later. All right. Now, that's about it for the very first episode of this series. And I hope you guys all enjoy the rest of it.